Hey friends, what's going on? Welcome to the Double A Homestead basement. And what you're looking at is part of the area where we grow all of our vegetables for the year. We are in the month of January, the end of January, believe it or not. I feel like that went by super quickly, but it is getting to that time of year where we need to start thinking about what we're going to be growing in our garden. And there's a few things that you should start early in the year, your brassicas, of course, but we are going to be starting to grow onions today. This is going to be my second year growing onions. I grew onions last year and I really enjoyed it. I've got to clean this area up. It's kind of, I've got to get the light up. We're using the smaller lights this year than compared to the bigger lights just because I'm not starting a whole lot right now. If we were doing peppers, and tomatoes and stuff, then I would start with the big ones. But because it's just, I'm actually doing herbs as well. Because I'm starting herbs and onions, I don't need that big of a light. So I'm gonna go ahead, I need to find hooks and get this cleaned up. I've got these little hooks here. I can't remember for the life of me what they are called. I'll put it in down below. But we use these for our lights, and we really like them because they are retractable, which is fantastic because when you're growing things inside, you have to move the lights up and down. So when you start out, you want your lights to be really as low as possible to what you're starting. This stuff out of the way. Another one here. All right, what's going on? Here we go. Put one. I think we're actually, I don't know if we're using the inside or the outside. I've got two eye bolts here. I know you can't really see them that well. I know the lighting's not 100% great yet. I gotta plug this in still. And then we hook these to the eye bolts. And then there's two things that you can use. There's this hook here, and I know cheese is in the way. Come on, cheese. I gotta show everybody. And then there's this hook here at the very end that you can use as well. Then we'll see where we are at. I feel like the outside eye bolts are okay. And then we'll go ahead and raise it up. And then I'll move this. And then I'm going to get the heat mat, and then I'm going to put the heat mat down here as well. Let there be light. We have light, and we have the heat mat, and I'm really excited. So with the heat mat, it's been a while since I've used it, a whole year. Usually Andrew does this part, but I've been learning. So you want to hold your set button down until it starts blinking. And then these two, oh, you can't really see that well. So you hold this set button down, and then these cause it to go up and down. So I'm going to put it at 75, and then I'm going to go ahead and hold that set button, and then it's going to register the temperature. If I want to see what it's set at, I just hold that, and then this is the current temperature. I know it's backwards, but it says it's 51 degrees. So it's very important that you put this probe in a pot on top of this heat mat so it can register the temperature of the mat. I fumbled last year and I did not do that. My brain went completely wayside and I ruined a lot of the seeds, unfortunately, because the heat mat got too hot. So very, very important that you do that and leave it on the heat mat. And it comes with a little suction cup. That way, if you wanted to suction just something, and then it's got a little screw top or like a little hole in here for a screw. So if you wanted to screw it to something and keep it in a permanent spot, or semi-permanent, I should say, you can do that as well. So I'm actually going to clean up this heat mat, and on top of this light, you would be surprised after a year of not using things how dirty that they can get. So I just have a bottle here of vinegar. I'm going to move the cheese, and we are going to get this cleaned up. Come on, buddy. You're not going to like what I'm about to do. I know it's warm, but you gotta move. Oh, that's gross. This is even grosser. Turn that. Whew, that is strong. I typically like the smell of vinegar, but whew, I'm actually not gonna spray the light. I'll spray the thing here. Get that cleaned off. Probably should have done this first and then the mat. So when the stuff falls, I'll have to clean the mat twice. Yuck. All right, fantastic. Much, much better. Oh yeah. Now this is dirty again. Perfect. Now we are clean and we are ready to start growing basically. I don't have my pots filled yet, but I'm going to be doing I'm going to be doing all my herbs inside. Last year I got a little bit behind. It just didn't really work out that well last year with my herbs, but I'm going to be doing rosemary. I'm going to be starting that now. Rosemary can be pretty temperamental, and I'm sorry about the lighting. With this light being on, it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to do my best to show you guys. It can be a little hard to grow rosemary, but over the years I've been slowly getting better at it. But just basic herbs is what I'm going to be growing. And then I've got a few different types of onions. Now I'm going to be starting my onions from seed. And I've got my Australian, I've got yellow, red of Florence, bunching, onions, and I'm not sure what this one is. But honestly, we're going to be growing all of these onions, which I'm excited about. And we do have a couple of things that I could start as well. So one thing to really help you out when you're starting seeds indoors is I've got this garden planner, and it's got two different sides. We've got your, let's see, this is your fall, and then this is going to be your spring, and it's going to tell you. So you want to find out your last frost date, an estimate of your last frost date. And so what you're going to do is you are going to find your last frost date, and you are going to line that red line up to that. So we're just going to rough it and say that our last frost date is like April 12th. And that's not what it is, but we're just going with it. So this tells me when I move it there, when I can start my seeds indoors, when I can plant them outdoors, which is a really helpful tool. You don't have to make this your complete rule book, but it just gives you an idea of when you can start your seeds. So I do follow this usually when it comes to seed starting indoors. Sometimes I get a little excited, which is understandable, and I might start things a little bit earlier than I should. But I'm hoping that the onions and the herbs will hold me off until I can start peppers and tomatoes, which peppers are coming up very soon. So what I think I'm going to do this year is I actually bought these from Dollar Tree, and I still have them. I randomly, like, well, I was using them last year, and I used a few here and there, but I still have some, and I would like to just use them and get them out of the way. So I think I'm going to be doing herbs in these ones today. Onions are a little bit different, and I learned this last year when I was growing onions inside. You can start onions anytime you want inside from seed. And if you put them in a pot, they're going to grow to a certain size and they're going to stay that size until you move them outdoors. And then they're going to grow. So the great thing about that is you can grow them in any size pot that you want. Now, I wouldn't typically start growing in something like this, which is a seed cell. I did that last year and I put one individual onion in each one, which was not a good idea. Yes, it'll grow, but you can grow multiples of onions in a container. And what I mean by that, I could take this container, which I saved, I think it had mushrooms in it. I washed it. I can fill this with soil and I can grow 20 onions in here until I'm ready to plant them out into whatever I'm going to put them in. And that's going to save you space instead of putting one onion in each cell, whereas I could fit 20 or have 20 of these, if you see what I'm saying. So I definitely learned that last year. So, and I've had family members save these containers for me, and they're fantastic because they're like little greenhouses that you can grow in. They do have little holes in the top, so if you wanted to take those off, but it's absolutely perfect for a little greenhouse. So I'm definitely going to be using these this year as well. So there's a few different things that you can do starting your seeds. I know a lot of people like to use seed starting mix, which is totally okay. If you are doing on a smaller scale, if you can get good deals on something like this, it's just more airy and light and fluffy. It makes it easier for the seeds to come through and grow. I have no problem using this. We did reviews, I think last year or the year before, on our what we use for starting seeds, and we like Potter's Gold. We've been using that basically since we started seed starting, and that has worked really, really well for us. We really do enjoy that. We just ended up getting these because they were on sale and it was a good deal. So we do have those if we need it. One of the things that I like to make sure when I'm doing my seed starting is that I get my soil pretty wet. This has been sitting down here for a while. It's still good. There's nothing wrong with it. Um, but I don't like it being too dry because then if I put it in the pot, then, and if it's too dry, when you start watering it, the soil is going to get lower and lower and lower in the pot. So that way I can ensure that there's enough soil in that pot and it's not depleting over time. Ooh, that's dusty. If you are starting your seeds indoors, what are you starting? I'm very curious if anyone's started anything yet. I'm in a few, oh, it's dusty, a few gardening groups, and there's been a few people who have started their peppers already, which that depends on what kind of lighting you have as well. But I can't believe that we're already in the end of January and going into February. We typically we'll start our seeds probably here about a month or so for the peppers at least. Cause let's see, January, February, March, April, about April we'll start. And then we'll move on to the tomatoes. Now this might take a minute because it's been sitting for a while without any water. It's one of the things that can happen. Soil can get hydrophobic, so you really gotta soak it. I've been debating what I want to just start my onions in. I know I showed you a few different things, and there's so many options that I can use and what I can fit the most inside um, a tray or a pot. So I have these little guys. We typically use these for flowers, so I'm not going to use that. But we also have, we bought a bunch of these. We do have these. And then we also have these solo cups. And then the chicken ones for the rotisseries that I showed you. But I think what I'm going to be using are these today. The reason why I'm leaning on this is because they are deeper than what I just gotta get one. I guess, yeah, you can see that the mushroom one is a little bit deeper than what the chicken rotisserie chicken one was. And if I'm not going to be transferring them until I move them outdoors, I would prefer that I can get them a little bit deeper and fit more in as possible, which I can fit more in the chicken one, but I just would rather put it in here. And that's my decision for the year. I mean, I could do both, but we'll go with this one. So I'm going to go ahead, fill it up, and then compact it down. I'm definitely really excited that the growing season is upon us and we are not too far away. Kind of went by fast, I feel like. So we got one. Not sure how many I want to do. I know I have a few different varieties here that I want to grow. So maybe I'll start with filling 5 of these. And then once I'm done filling, I will be back. I have everything filled up. I probably went a little bit overboard, but I wanted to make sure that I had enough filled so I didn't have to go back and fill more. I filled up these cute little cups. I did want to touch on these little things that I made. These are actually from toilet paper rolls. And what I did is I cut the bottoms into fours and then I folded them onto themselves and then I wet them. That way they would stick to each other because I tried to make these the first year that we were here and it just wasn't working out. They were not, the bottom kept falling out. So I did that a little bit differently and I'm going to try and grow in these. What exactly, I don't know yet. I don't know how well they're going to hold up throughout the seed starting indoors. If they hold up well, I'm going to keep doing it, obviously, because I mean, it's not free, but I like to try to reuse things and come up with ideas. And if it works out, then I'll definitely be happy about that. So hopefully I can do something with that. And then I can update you guys on that too, on the progress of both of these and see how they're doing. I mean, I plan on updating you on all the stuff that's growing throughout the season. Thinking I'm going to do is put these little cups inside these trays. We really, really like these trays. These fit perfectly inside here. I think, now don't quote me, I could be wrong. It's been a while, a year. I think you can fit like 20 in a tray. So what we have is 2 trays actually, and the first one has a set of holes in them, and then the second one does not. There's no holes in here. So when I'm watering, what I like to do is I'll water, or I'll have one designated tray for watering, and I'll just double up without the holes, or I'll put one with holes, and then because I've had it where it's broken and I didn't know it and water went everywhere, I'll double up the bottom, and then I'll put leave water in that one, and then just kind of transfer. but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave these cups in here and then just go from there. Fantastic. All right. Oh, an even amount. I like it. I'm very excited because I was moving things around in this cap that goes to our water jug has been missing for almost a year and I found it and I'm so happy that I found it. I thought it was lost forever. So I moved you guys so you could see a little bit better my setup and what I've got going on. I planted the red of Florence already, so I'm just going to lightly cover, and I really liked the red of Florence, but they did not they're not designed to get very big. So if you want a bigger onion, that's not what you want. And of course, as always, do not forget to label your seeds. I do it every year, depending on what it is. It'll be something I will forget to label it, no matter how much I try to remind myself, and then I will go back to it, or Andrew will ask me what it is, and I'll tell him I have no idea. One. Fantastic. First seeds in of the growing season, and they are onions, and I'm super excited and happy to share that with you guys. Okay, friends, so I've got these two planted, and I was able to share that experience with you, so I'm going to go ahead and put this video in supersonic speed and get all of these planted, and I'll be back when I'm done. I'm back and have so far everything that I wanted planted. There was two basils that I wasn't able to fit in all of it, but that's okay. I have room later on if I decide that I want to start more. This is my little spray water. Even though the soil is wet, I'm still going to water these just because I want to get good germination. I dumped all the soil onto that one. There. It's very important that you water afterwards. Okay, friends, I've got everything planted here, ready to go. I have my probe in my pot so it gets the correct temperature. Everything has been labeled. So I am going to lower the light because I would like to get it. Typically, you want it to get as close as possible to your seeds to warm up that soil. There we go. I think my clip broke. Oh, there we go. Get the other side. Oh, it's this. Raise this side up just a little bit more. And I think we are good. Perfect. I like where it's at, and I'm going to, of course, check on these and keep you guys updated on how they grow and check back. All right, thanks so much for watching this video and taking the time out of your day. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and share button so you can keep up on my seeds throughout the growing season.